doing a sketchbook tour. A lot of this was done in 2019 and 2020. So I just wanted to run through some projects that I've done, some growth that I've had through kind of the work I've done. Right now, yeah, my sketchbook is kind of just all over the place. I write notes, I do doodles and sketches, figure drawing, I do sketches for design work. So there's a little bit of everything, and having a sketchbook that can kind of do it all takes the pressure off of having to just use your sketchbook for finished drawings or for really nice sketches. You can just do whatever you want in there. So the first part of the sketchbook is from fall semester 2019, which is the end of the year. I was in school in a studio where we had to handcraft, design, and sell a product. Our product was some sort of foldable device, some sort of Our design idea was to try to create like a modern picnic basket, something you could carry all of your food in or your lunch, take it with you, and then it would fold out into a mat or like a display. So throughout here, there's some early ideas of what this could look like. So I took on a lot of the packaging and branding work, ideas of how to incorporate a logo and name into the bag, stitching things on, having tags, iterating on the logo a lot of times, and here's the final logo. Much simpler than any of these sketches were, but that's kind of the idea. Depending on the brand, we were going for a bit of a luxury feel, so a minimalist kind of sleek logo made sense for that. Another class I was taking in this semester, the fall semester, was design methodology. We were focused on making some kind of design intervention to the problem of climate change. We sort of created an app and design system that would help customers make more sustainable choices. What else we got? As I go through here, there's like a ton of doodles that are just kind of randomly in between things that are not really complete, which I think is okay. Sometimes you're just trying to get an idea out really quick, and you don't have time to flesh out every single one, especially if it's not your final piece. Like, I would rather get started on working the final product if I have a good idea from a very basic, rough sketch. But some of these are actually just good practice, like this textured doodle I have. And one of the goals of mine is to follow through with some of these doodles and sketches. Even if it doesn't end up looking like the final piece I expect it to, best case scenario is I'm getting more practice just from more drawing. So we're jumping into 2020 now, beginning of the year, pre-COVID. I had moved out to New York City for a job at NBC, doing social media and promotional stuff for the late night shows like SNL and Seth Meyers. Some of that's in here, but a lot of this was just me kind of doing some exploration outside of work. So I did a lot of figure drawing and studies of faces and poses from Pinterest that I pull just for practice. So you should really try to put some volume into your hair. Don't just shade it in like I did here. I wouldn't recommend that. I would go to coffee shops with a friend and just sit and draw for a while. That was a really great way to jog my memory of where I was and what I was doing when I made that drawing. So yeah, a lot of these figure drawings are from that time. With that, there's also the flip side too of going into quarantine. So some of these sketches, like these self-portraits here, are from that time. I was still working remote, and I decided to stay in New York for a little while. So some of these drawings are reminiscent of that. I had just gotten my hair cut like the day before we went into lockdown, and obviously my hair was not blonde. And this time too, I was trying to find some inspiration of other forms of expression through drawing, and I found this technique called automatic drawing. I'll link to that video. It's very similar to meditation and mindfulness exercises where there's zero pressure to create like a final product. You're just focused on filling the page and letting your muscle memory kind of do more of the work than your brain, the actual thinking side of what am I drawing, what am I designing. They were sort of based on instinct of the way I draw and what I've learned. There's pieces and forms that start to feel more concrete, but I did my best to lean in and lean out of that concrete imagery as I was sketching. So with lockdown, there was a lot of time to come up with these merch ideas. For Late Night with Seth Meyers, I did a lot of Photoshop iterations and more like clean typographic designs that were all digital. But some of them were more cartoony, and that's sort of what I was trying to sketch here. These sketches are from a freelance job for the marching band at the high school I graduated from. So these are kind of fun. It's a very open design brief. I pretty much get the name of the show and a little bit of context for what the theme is, and then I can run with that from there. So obviously the show was postponed because it was 2020. Hopefully by the next season coming around, they can use this identity for the show. So now we're into the summer of 2020. I was back in school, so going into remote learning for the first time, and coming home from New York and everything that was going on with the protests and the whole Black Lives Matter movement. These pages are sort of notes and ideas about what was going on and self-education, and it led me to make social media the focus of my senior thesis, also known as a capstone project, because of this moment in time where it felt that social media was very important for keeping up with news and current events. And at the same time, we took a step back to really see what the value of social media is and how we can use it even in the context of quarantine and socializing through digital communication. Another project I was working on that semester was design systems. I found a park nearby my apartment in Cincinnati and created a system of like signage and pathways and ideas to make it easier for new people to appreciate the history of the park and navigate through the park. To me, it felt like there wasn't a lot of pressure to make that project amazing. Since I am focused more in animation and illustration, I didn't find it to be entirely relevant to showing my skill set or the types of jobs I would like to do in the future. And I think for that reason, it ended up turning out a lot better than I expected, because I was able to have a little more fun with it and get creative, try new things. And yeah, I mean, speaking of trying new things, I did a series of like small 8x10 paintings of clouds in September because I literally just decided like it'd be nice to just paint clouds as much as I can in a month, just like trying to do it every day. I ended up getting at least like 20 days out of the 30. Is it 30? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. September has 30 days. That's sort of why my sketchbook ends at summer. Through the fall, I was working again. I was back home, more focused on doing the paintings. And I did a lot of experimenting with like block printing and painting on mugs and shoes, and that'll all be on my Instagram if you want to check that out. And I'll also be selling prints of the paintings on a bunch of products in Society 6. Thank you for watching. I'm excited to do more of these, and I'll see you later.